every time you leave the house, your dog might be suffering, and you don't even know it. Not whining a little, not just being bored, actually suffering. And here's the part that gets most dog owners. The things you do right before you walk out that door, the things you think are loving, comforting, even helpful, might be making it so much worse. You might be teaching your dog, without knowing it, that being alone is the most terrifying experience in the world. Right now, while you're away at work or running errands or just out grabbing coffee, your dog could be in a full panic, pacing, drooling, scratching at walls. Some dogs stop eating entirely. Some lose control of their bladders from pure anxiety. And the silent truth is, most owners come home to the aftermath, the chewed couch, the accidents on the floor, and assume their dog was being bad. But your dog wasn't being bad. Your dog was terrified, and some of that fear, you may have created it with love. Here's what most people get completely wrong about separation anxiety. They think it's a personality trait, that some dogs are just clingy or needy. They think it's something you're born with, or something that fades with age. But that's not how it works. Separation anxiety is a learned emotional response, and it's shaped, quietly, by tiny daily habits that most owners never question. Things like how you say goodbye, how you come home, what you leave on when you're gone. These moments, the ones you don't think twice about, are teaching your dog something. And in many cases, what they're being taught is that your absence means danger. Think about that for a second. Your dog doesn't understand language, schedules, or time. They can't look at a clock and think, okay, they'll be back in 2 hours. To them, every single time you leave, the question is the same. Are they coming back? And the way their brain answers that question is built entirely on what you've been doing, day after day, without realizing it. Most people spend months, even years, trying to fix separation anxiety with treats and toys and expensive gadgets, and nothing works. Not because the dog is broken, but because the root habits never changed. That's what we're going to talk about today. Not surface-level tips, the deep stuff, the mistakes you're probably making right now, and what to do instead, starting immediately. In this video, we're going to break down 5 specific mistakes that make separation anxiety worse. Not obscure, rare mistakes. The everyday things that millions of dog owners do, thinking they're helping. By the end of this video, you'll understand your dog's emotional world in a way that changes how you see every single departure. And stick around for mistake number 5, because it's the one that almost nobody talks about, and it might be the single most damaging thing you're doing without knowing it. 1. The emotional goodbye ritual. Picture this. It's 8 a.m. You're about to head to work. Your dog comes running over, tail going, eyes big and hopeful. And you do what every loving owner does. You kneel down. You hold their face. You say, "I love you so much. Be good. I'll be back soon, okay? Okay? I love you." And then you plant a kiss on their head and walk out the door. That moment feels like love, because it is love. But here's what your dog is actually experiencing in those final seconds before you leave. Their heart rate is rising, stress hormones are spiking, and their brain is logging this pattern when this specific sequence of events happens. The voice change, the physical contact, the prolonged eye contact, something bad follows. You disappear. Researchers studying canine stress responses have found that dogs are extraordinarily good at reading pre-departure cues. Not just the obvious ones like picking up your keys, but emotional shifts in your voice, your touch, your breathing pattern. When you pour emotion into your goodbye, you are essentially sending an alarm signal. You are communicating in dog language. This is a big deal. This is worth getting anxious about. The emotional meaning of this is important. You're not doing anything wrong because you're cruel. You're doing it because you love your dog. But your dog doesn't interpret that goodbye the way you intended. They interpret the elevated emotion as a warning, and every time you repeat that ritual, you reinforce the association. Leaving equals this intense, emotional, overwhelming moment. No wonder they panic when you're gone. The fix isn't to stop loving your dog. The fix is to make departures boring, Genuinely, almost offensively boring. No drawn-out goodbyes. No long eye contact. Walk out like it's nothing. Because to a calm, secure dog, it should be nothing. Most people don't realize that the more emotional your goodbye, the more anxious your dog becomes. Calm departures are one of the most powerful tools you have. Too rewarding. Anxious behavior without knowing it, you come home after a long day. Your dog launches at you, jumping, spinning, crying, practically climbing your legs. And honestly, it feels great. It feels like being loved. So you match their energy. You laugh. You hug them. You say, "I missed you too. I missed you so much." And the reunion becomes this big, joyful, chaotic celebration. Here's the problem. Your dog isn't just excited. If they have separation anxiety, that explosion of energy when you walk in is the release of hours of stored panic. And when you respond with equally high energy, with affection, with attention, with celebration, you are rewarding the anxious state. You are telling your dog's nervous system, this level of distress, this explosion at the door, gets you exactly what you want. That reward locks in the behavior. A study on canine attachment found that dogs with separation anxiety show significantly higher cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, throughout the time their owners are away, and those levels spike again at reunion. What that means is the reunion itself can become another stress trigger, especially when it's charged with emotional intensity. Here's what this does emotionally to your dog over time. Every day becomes a cycle. Mounting panic during your absence, an explosive reunion, a brief reset, and then the anticipation of the next departure begins almost immediately. That cycle is exhausting. It keeps your dog in a near-constant low-level state of stress, even when you're home. The alternative is the same principle as the goodbye. Make the return calm. Walk in. Ignore the jumping. Let your dog settle. Once they have all four paws on the floor and their breathing slows, then calmly greet them. You're not being cold. You're teaching them that calm equals connection, and that lesson alone can begin to break the anxiety cycle. But here's the thing. Even if you do this perfectly, there's a bigger mistake most owners are making that undoes all of it. And we'll get to that soon. Free, never practicing, being apart when you're home. Most owners think about separation anxiety as a problem that only exists when they're gone. So they try to fix it by managing what happens while they're away, leaving the TV on, getting a second dog, buying puzzle feeders. But they never address the deeper issue. Their dog has never learned how to be emotionally independent, even in the same house. Think about a typical evening at home. Your dog is beside you on the couch. You go to the kitchen, they follow. You go to the bathroom, they wait outside the door. Every room you enter, they're there. You're never apart, even when you're home. And so your dog's entire emotional security system is built around one thing, your physical presence. When that presence disappears, even briefly, the system collapses. Animal behaviorists call this hyperattachment, and it's one of the core drivers of separation anxiety. The dog hasn't developed the emotional muscle to self-soothe, to settle independently, to feel safe without you as an anchor. And that muscle can only be built through practice. Gentle, gradual, intentional practice of being in different spaces. This matters deeply because what you're really building is trust. Trust that they're okay on their own. Trust that the world doesn't end when you're not in the room. That trust has to be built in small moments. You staying in your home office with the door closed for 10 minutes, your dog on their bed in the living room, before it can ever hold up during a full 8-hour workday. Start small. Gate off a room. Practice calm separation in 5-minute increments. Build it up over days and weeks. You're not pushing your dog away. You're giving them something more valuable than your constant presence. You're giving them confidence. And confidence is what separation anxiety destroys. We're halfway through, and if you've recognized yourself in any of these mistakes, that's actually a good sign. It means you're paying attention in a way most owners never do. But listen closely, because the next two mistakes are where things get really serious. Most people miss these entirely, and they are the reason why so many dogs never fully recover from separation anxiety, no matter what else their owners try. 4 inconsistent schedules that keep your dog guessing. Here's something that might seem unrelated to separation anxiety: your daily schedule. Specifically, how consistent it is. Some owners leave at 7 a.m. every day like clockwork. Others are home all day Monday, gone for 12 hours on Tuesday, back at noon on Wednesday. No pattern, no predictability. And they wonder why their dog seems anxious all the time. Even on the days they stay home,